This is Molly, and she
Okay.
is a little haunted jester doll. Kind of, I took a bit of inspiration from like Annabelle, but she is one of the like little side plots rotating around him. She's a haunted doll that he got in the mail that kind of came with a note attached urging him to go visit his like rich uncle in this town. And that's a town that's currently being overrun with other ghosts and haunted dolls and things. And Riley's like, I don't have the vacation days to put up with all that. I'm good. So since he doesn't go, Molly won't leave him alone. So she's just hanging around his house. And every time he tries to get rid of her, she just comes back because she's a haunted doll. And that's what haunted dolls do. But she's just in his house waiting for him to like answer that specific call to action. And since she's just there to pass the time, she just sits on his couch and watches TV all the time. Because like, what else are you supposed to do? It's like, I'm waiting for this guy to get his shit together, you know? But she she can't speak, so I had to get a little creative with getting her personality across, especially in the book. But she's got a lot of hints of mischievousness to her that I really enjoyed writing. She likes using emojis, like emoticon, little smiley faces and stuff. She's one of my favorite parts of the book too. Honestly, I love all the characters and stuff in the book. They all have kind of a role to fill, but Molly is definitely there for a little bit of scare factor since it's a horror comedy. But she's a good chunk there for the comedy, I think.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creativity Worth Expressing. For today's podcast episode, I have an exciting guest coming all the way from Wyoming. Please welcome to this podcast, Dr. Mills. He is an author, he has a series, and he's going to tell us all about it. Well, Dr. Mills, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited because we had a little pre-chat before we hit the record button, and I'm starting to get to know a bit about your work and the process, and I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mentioned that you are an author. You have a series. From the information that I have, you have a young adult series. Can you tell us what the series is all about?
Uh, it's kind of where I started writing. I feel like artists are very critical on their own work. My earlier books in that series, I feel like probably need updated a little bit, but it's called Monsters, and I got the M from the title tattooed on my wrist right here. But it's kind of like Supernatural and Stranger Things kind of put together. Like if the Stranger Things kids, if a couple of them kind of started doing what Sam and Dean do in the TV show Supernatural and just started hunting monsters that popped up in their little town. So,
So how many books do you have already published from the series?
uh, if we count, I have one that's only for newsletter subscribers that's really short. And then I have like a volume one release that's the first four books kind of put into one big book. So counting those, about seven, I think. And
Okay,
I
so you have
have I have all the way up to like the 13th book written, I think, with side books in between. They just haven't been edited yet. I kind of wrote, they're real short because they're young adult. They're like novellas, most of them. So I wrote a lot of them ahead of time. I just kept going. And then the editing kind of happens a bit slower in that process because I can write on my own time. So,
cool, cool. So, like, one thing I like to do in this podcast is explore like the creative journey of each guest. So, I'm very curious. I mean, it sounds like you really love to write. You have like all these books coming out.
yeah.
Um, but I'm wondering, like, when was it that you first started writing? Was there an experience, or maybe something that motivated you to pick up the pen or typewriter and just start going?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Is kind of a weird little journey. I grew up on like Cartoon Network a lot, so I was watching a lot of like Scooby Doo, Courage the Cowardly Dog. But I was also watching a lot of like that's the obvious like horror inspiration stuff is the scary kids shows like Courage and stuff. But I was also watching a lot of like heavy drama, like serialized kind of kids shows like Code Lyoko. Stormhawks is just randomly coming to my mind for some reason. I don't know why, but stuff like that that was a bit more serious and dramatic. Ben 10, probably another good example because that's a very linear, ongoing story instead of like a more of like a contained by per episode kind of thing. But around my teens, I think I started getting more into like heavy drama shows, like stuff like Dexter. I found Supernatural was my big one. I was huge into Supernatural for the longest time. That was one of those shows that felt like it was just made for me, because it's like Scooby-Doo for adults basically, but there was a lot of like classic rock mixed in there too. And I literally the kind of music I grew up listening to, because my mom would just have it on the classic rock station when I was a kid all the time. So that show was a huge inspiration, and it made me want to write TV shows and get into like writing stuff like Supernatural. And I went back from its inspiration and watched like the X-Files and Twin Peaks and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, TV is where it's at. Yeah. And I wanted to write TV shows. And so I started writing Monsters as like essentially like a screenplay series to like hopefully like pitch it someday and have like a whole like bunch of episodes. Like, here, I have a whole season planned if you're interested, you know. And didn't get too far with that because I was still just kind of writing the whole series. I wasn't really pitching it anywhere. And AP Mobley, my editor for the series, actually, that you've interviewed, she was the one that was like, oh, you should make it into a book series instead of a TV series. You know, it can always get picked up and adapted later if it gets popular enough. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess. So I just started writing it as a book series, and that's kind of where it took off. And I looked back a lot. Like, I was into Goosebumps a lot too as a kid. I loved reading Goosebumps. And then when I got older, it turned into Fear Street, Darren Shan stuff like Cirque du Freak. And I remember when I was little, I tried to like write my own Goosebumps book, but I think each chapter was only like 2 or 3 pages long. Like, it was awful. Definitely was awful, terrible. I never finished it, but like, that was still me at like 11 or 12 saying like, I could write a book. How hard could it be? It turns out it's actually pretty hard, but you know, the fact that I even tried to do that when I was so young, and now I'm writing Monsters as a book series. I look back on that specifically and I'm like, maybe this is what I should be doing. So I've just been writing books and just kind of publishing since then. And it's like, feel like I'm kind of hitting a stride, especially with the ones I'm writing currently, my current series. It kind of feels like what I should have been doing the whole time, you know? So
like you mentioned just like a moment ago, like all these book series, and like right now it's hard for me to read currently just because like there's just so many things that I'm doing. I have like so many books, but I have just so many things to do. It's like I can't like, which one do I start? I start one and then I start another one. But you know, in childhood I did read a lot of book series, and like going back to like, for example, Goosebumps. Mm-hmm. I just remember as a kid thinking to myself, damn it, R.L. Stine, hurry up, make another book already. Come on.
He has so many. There are so many Goosebumps books now.
But like you were saying, it's so hard to, you know, have that consistency and that high volume. But do you see yourself with your book series, you know, producing like that type of style of like consistency, just like popping books left and right?
Oh man. Honestly, if I had like multiple editors that I could afford to pay, I probably could, honestly. Just kind of like keep everything as consistent as possible across each book and just give like each book out to a couple people at a time and just push a bunch out like that. I could, if I had enough money to pay enough editors, I could probably get a system figured out where I could just kind of pump books out left and right and get like 4 or 5 published a year. That would be a lot, but I don't have that kind of money at the moment. It would be nice though. It would be very nice, especially with a series like Monsters, because the books are very short and I have a lot of them like written already ahead of time. So being able to just kind of like consistently pump that number of books out. And even though it's still a book series now, I'm still planning on doing it in seasons and stuff like a TV show. So I have like a mid-season finale planned that I think is like the 10th book. And when that one comes out, I'm going to take a break, which is going to feel like a regular break anyway, because I take so long to get books out these days, especially on Monsters. But you know, if I ever get to a point where I can pump books out more consistently, especially with Monsters, I will have like planned breaks between like the middles and ends of the seasons and stuff, so that like new plot lines can start, old ones can wrap up, things like that. So
So
it's
you
still very much a TV show. It's just a book series
yeah.
instead.
Well, you mentioned earlier that like you would write your own chapters as a kid, and you're doing
Mhm.
all this writing. But I'm wondering, like, when was it that you knew I need to publish my work?
Hmm. Honestly, is probably around the time that I started writing monsters when it was still a screenplay. Because once I kind of figured out like how I wanted to do that, um, and I kind of started picturing more of the series in my head and figuring out exactly where I wanted to go. You have a lot of ideas as a kid that's just like not great, but it's like, like you're playing tag with your friends or something and you get tagged and you're like, oh, actually I went back in time, so it doesn't count. I had a lot of like dumb but fun like little ideas like that. And once I started cutting a lot of the stuff out that I knew wasn't going to work, that wasn't going to be good, it started to kind of like take shape. And I was like, oh, this could actually possibly be a really good story. And like the plan was always to make it a TV show, but like I didn't know I was going to write books then. But it was like, oh, I could actually make something really good here if I can just get it like shaped and fleshed out and get it out in the world. More people could see it and it might actually get there someday. And that still, I guess, at some point is the plan. But for now, I'm happy just kind of publishing and hearing people read and like it. I love asking people like favorite moments and characters if they read it. So,
So if
I'm just kind of happy with that at the moment.
well, if ever it does become a TV show or series one day or on the big screen, have you ever envisioned a cast?
Kind of. In my current book series, actually, Riley Doesn't Want to Fight Evil. It's a horror comedy, and there's a number of actors that I have pictured for specific characters whilst writing the book. Like in the process of writing the book, when I first came up with the idea, there was a couple people that I was like, this is exactly who this guy is, and I couldn't picture anyone else being those characters either. But if it ever does get that far, there's a good chance it's not going to be those people. But I do have little like fan castings in my head for specifically this one. Not so much monsters. That one's more just up in my head. But Riley, definitely, I have some fan casting picks for a select number of the characters.
Care to share some of those fan casts with us?
Yeah. They're Riley's love interest in the first book. She's just this like gorgeous redhead girl named Ariel Quinn. And I didn't picture her whilst writing the book, but when there was a night I was having just like the curious little thought of like who would play Ariel. I actually landed on a couple people that I had never heard of but really looked the part, and then I landed on Madeline Pesh, I think is how you say her last name. She played Cheryl Blossom in the CW Riverdale TV series. And I watched quite a bit of Riverdale. I never finished it, but I watched more than the show probably deserved out of me. But Madeline was always a joy to watch as Cheryl Blossom, because I don't know if you've seen the show, but she started off very early as just the mean girl. But she had a lot of depth to her too because of like the way the show was written and like the events that were going on. And I think Madeline portrayed the character very well in her mean girl moments as well as her like more vulnerable. A lot of depth, a lot of talent in that girl. And she's also a tall, beautiful redhead. I think she would nail the role of Ariel Quinn, especially for everything that goes on with Ariel. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but have you ever seen iZombie on the CW?
No.
That's fair. I'm gonna have to look his name up real quick. David Anders, that's his name. He played one of the like antagonists, villains, kind of in the show iZombie. Very cool dude. He seems very chill, especially at like fan conventions and stuff. He's been in other stuff, but the only thing I really know him from is iZombie. But he's a very fun character in that. He is a zombie, but he's got this very kind of well-dressed, kind of villain guy role to him. Since he's a zombie, his skin's very pale, his hair is white. And one of my main villains in the first Riley book is this immortal man named Rivers Tremaine. And he takes the bodies of people he kills and he turns them into zombie servants that he can just like their simple name and just be like, Pete, take care of this, you know, and his big hulking, like muscular zombie servant whose name is apparently Pete will just go and take care of this. And but he's been alive for like over 200 years and he's just got this like platinum blonde, basically white hair, black pinstripe suit, and he's just very like kind of unhinged but kind of like restrained. You know, if you had a psychopath that was alive for long enough that he could just kind of be like, all right, I get it, you know, is kind of the vibe. And the whole time I was writing the book, I was literally just picturing David Anders's character from iZombie the whole time I was writing the book. And he originally was only going to be a character in like the prologue, because he shows up in the prologue, like the very beginning of Riley. And he was just going to be the like one and done, like wraps himself up and he's gone villain. But I loved his character so much that I ended up bringing him back, and he ended up becoming one of the like main villains in the book. And he's one of my favorite parts of the book. Honestly, he's great.
Also, something I like about you know, listening to you is that there's just so many ideas that come to your mind, and you're writing, and you have a very fast pace. Do you ever have writer's block? And if you do, like, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I have a bad writer's block a lot of the time. I think I mentioned already that since we started the recording anyway, that I just kind of write a ton, but I will get so much done in such a short time that when the writer's block hits, a lot of the time it's like bad, like burnout kind of writer's block. And I won't touch writing for like months. And maybe it's a recharge period, or maybe it's just me kind of like waiting. But a lot of the time I just like opening my Google Doc for whatever book I'm working on and just looking at the screen. I'm like, I could probably write. Like, I'll feel a little inspirational buzz watching a show or something after work, and I'll open up the doc, and it's like the moment it's on my screen, it's like there's sandpaper on my brain, and it's like, no, get that off of the screen right now. We are not going to have that. And I'm like, all right. And I'll take it off and I'll go play games or something. But yeah, a lot of the time, the writer's block, I don't really have a like surefire way just to get past it. A lot of the time I will just take a couple months away from it and wait until the like want really comes back. And then it gets to the point where I open it and I'm like really inspired and I'm like, oh, cool. And I will just, you know, it's like it just comes out of me again. And then I will be super productive for like another couple months, and then I'll be burnt out for another couple months. And I just go in this like real on-off cycle that just kind of, it's just how I am, I guess, you know?
So. And when you get like a light bulb of ideas, is it like at a random moment, or is it like because you're really sitting down and thinking about it?
I feel like most of the time it's probably a random moment. I'm just like, I'll be at work and I'm just like, what am I going to do when I get off work tonight? And then I'll think of the game I've been playing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty fun. And then it's like halfway through my work shift, like an idea will just hit me. And I'm like, oh, that solves a lot of my problems, actually. I'll try that. And then I'll get home and I'll plug the idea in and kind of like rework a little bit. And it's like the dam breaks. I'm like, oh, wait. The ideas are back. We're back in business. And then that's all I will do. I won't touch my games. That's just all I will do for the next like 3 weeks, you know?
It's funny how you're saying like it comes in like at a random, like it can't come in at a random moment. So like in my mind, I'm just like imagining you just driving like doo-doo-doo, and then like bam, you know, you get this like idea and like you hit the brakes, you know, do a big U-turn.
Yeah, like, oh, I gotta go back home. Hold on.
all dramatic, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, that's cool that you have this writing. It's going. It's very consistent. What would you say, besides writer's block, what are some obstacles that you face in your writing journey?
Ooh. Honestly, probably advertising. I am terrible with social media. I have a newsletter that I do about once a month, because I know if I did it any more than that, I would be horrible about keeping on top of it. But I'm usually pretty good about doing my newsletters because it's one time a month, so as soon as the day hits, I'm like, oh, I got to get that done, and I'll go and do it because I'm like, well, I can't do it tomorrow. And you do swaps with other authors, so like they promote your book and you promote theirs, and when I get swaps especially, I'm like, I can't miss this month. I have to do this because if I don't, then I'm screwing that guy over, and that guy's trying to make it just as much as I am, so like I can't do that to him. So, but like as far as like socials go, like when I have a new book come out, I will make a big stink about it on social media, and I'll like post on my Twitter and my Facebook and everything. I'll be like, hey guys, book's coming out in a week. Are you excited? And then I'll get like 3 likes, and I'm like, that's whatever. And then when the book comes out, I'll be like, it's release day, guys. Hooray. Here's the link. You can go buy the book if you want. And then I will not post on social media again until my next book is about to come out, because I'm just not good at it. Like I'm just not, it's like, as far as like the list of priorities in my brain go, it's like right near the bottom, because I'm just doing all these other things. Like I'm going to work, I'm doing my writing, I'm keeping up with friends and family. Like it's so far down the list of things, so marketing myself is definitely my biggest obstacle, because if I was better at that, I'd probably have a bit more eyes on my stuff, which, is fine. It's also not something I'm trying to force. I kind of just, if it happens, it happens, and some people, especially nowadays, because the market is so saturated with other indie authors and just generally people trying to make it in any kind of business. Like I'm sure you trying to push the podcast through, it's hard because there's a lot of podcasts out there. It's easy for people to just have a microphone and to just record themselves talking for an hour and to just put it out there in the world. So like, it's hard to pop off on anything these days. So there's a lot of luck involved with it too, I think. So I'm also kind of just like telling myself, like, if your socials aren't popping, that's fine. It's, if it happens to you, it'll happen. And you'll probably, I'll be able to quit my day job for one, and then I'll have a lot more time to just post random stuff on social media.
Yeah. Well, it is definitely a challenge. And some people have that gift where they're like on like all day and like, hey, get my book, and or hey, check out my podcast. For me as well, it's like I try to engage, but it's hard because also there's different platforms, like you were saying. There's Twitter, and then there's Facebook, and then there's more. There's
and the algorithms are all different too. You got to do different things to get pushed through each one. Like I know on TikTok, if you post like more than 3 times a day, you get like shadow banned or something, because the TikTok starts thinking your account is like a bot account or something.
Oh really? Oh damn.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Trying to promote my stuff on TikTok. Allie, actually, AP Mobley, she's like, yeah, don't publish more than like 3 TikToks in a day, or else TikTok will think you're a bot account and they'll stop pushing your stuff into the algorithm. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll stick to 3 a day then. Thanks.
Have you been doing 3 a day?
I was not a lot. My wife, actually, she was doing most of the TikTok posting for me. She made a lot of videos with the book. As soon as I got like physical copies of Riley in my hand, she made a ton of TikToks, and she published like 1 or 2 a day. Had a bunch planned out and scheduled, and then once she kind of ran out of ideas, we kind of stopped making them so consistently. She'll make one every here and there, but not as much as when the book first came out back in October. So
my next question for you is, because I've been talking about the obstacles. Now, what is your favorite part about being a writer?
Honestly, probably just all the you have like a favorite TV show or something, like the water cooler talk you do with friends at work, where it's like, oh, did you see the new episode of the show last night? And you guys talk about like your favorite moments and what character's your favorite, and like, oh, did you see that part? That was insane. Like, I feel like that over like half of the stuff I write, where it's like, oh, this moment that I just wrote, I'll tell all my friends at work about it when I get to work. I'm like, dude, I just wrote this chapter before I came to work, and I'll like break the whole thing like play by play down for them, and they'll laugh and they're like, that's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It's like all over my head. It's my favorite moment in the book so far. And then I'll work on another couple chapters, and then I'll get hit by another moment like that I'll write. And a lot of the time the moments just kind of come to me like in the moment. I'm like, oh, if I did that though, that would be really good. And then I'll do that. that's happened to me a lot with Riley, actually. I'll just like on the spot, I'll be like, it would be really funny if this happened. Wait, I'm the guy writing the book. I can make that happen. And I'll just put that in. And a lot of the time it's, it gets a real good chuckle out of my friends, the people that have read the book. I haven't talked to like everyone who's read Riley, especially, but like the few people that I have that have like actually taken the time and read the book, they've told me like, dude, that part was hilarious. And I'm like, thank you. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. Like that to me, especially, and that's a cool part about still being kind of small, is like when people do read my books, I have the time to just sit and ask them like, oh, who was your favorite character, or what was your favorite moment? And a lot of the time they have an answer for me. And that's the kind of stuff that just like just makes me so happy. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Just, I'm like, yes, I'm so glad you loved character 3. He's also one of my favorites. He's my favorite little child that came out of this corner of my brain up here, So that's definitely a highlight for me, is being able to hear feedback like that. Not even like critical feedback, but just like what people liked, It's like, oh, I liked that too,
It brightens your day a bit, huh?
It does. I'm a big fan of that.
Well, so far in this podcast, we've been going through your journey, your struggles, and also the passion that you have. Now I wanted to go through a bit of your work. You were mentioning the character Riley. I think you also mentioned, was it Matilda, or what was it? What was the name of the Ariel?
Oh, Ariel? Yeah.
I don't know where I got Matilda from.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ariel. You mentioned quite a few characters. Can you tell us a bit about your characters? A little bit more.
For Riley?
Yes, for Riley.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters, actually. She's introduced pretty early in the book, so I put her on the cover. I don't know if you've even seen the cover of the book yet. But so Riley has a roommate, and her name is Molly. And are you scared of clowns at all?
Maybe evil clowns.
Okay. This is the cover. This is Riley doesn't want to fight evil.
Okay.
Got Riley on the cover here holding his broom, and obviously he's not very happy about the whole fighting evil thing. The world's up in flames behind him. But this is Molly, and she is a little haunted jester doll. Kind of, I took a bit of inspiration from like Annabelle. But she is one of the like little side plots rotating around him. She's a haunted doll that he got in the mail that kind of came with a note attached urging him to go visit his like rich uncle in this town. And that's a town that's currently being overrun with other ghosts and haunted dolls and things. And Riley's like, I don't have the vacation days to put up with all that. I'm good. So since he doesn't go, Molly won't leave him alone. So she's just hanging around his house. And every time he tries to get rid of her, she just comes back because she's a haunted doll. And that's what haunted dolls do. But she's just in his house waiting for him to like answer that specific call to action. And since she's just there to pass the time, she just sits on his couch and watches TV all the time. Because like, what else are you supposed to do? It's like, I'm waiting for this guy to get his shit together, But she can't speak. So I had to get a little creative with getting her personality across, especially in the book. But she's got a lot of hints of mischievousness to her that I really enjoyed writing. She likes using emojis, like emoticon, little smiley faces and stuff. She's one of my favorite parts of the book too, honestly. I love all the characters and stuff in the book. They all have kind of a role to fill, but Molly is definitely there for a little bit of scare factor since it's a horror comedy, but she's a good chunk there for the comedy, I think, because her presence is just kind of hilarious, that she's a haunted doll and she's more of a roommate than she is anything else,
So not to give off like too many spoilers, for those who want to read your book, but like it says, in the title that Riley doesn't want to fight evil. Can you tell us a bit about the evil?
So the big thing that starts circling him in the book, that a lot of the time it's just small stuff, like Molly, for example, where it's like something will come to him. Essentially, like, think like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings just knocks on his door and is like, you're the one destined to take the One Ring to Mordor. And he'll hand the ring over, and Riley's like, I'm good. And he'll just close the door in Gandalf's face, and then Gandalf won't bother him again. Like a lot of the time, it's little stuff like that he's just generally can avoid or not put up with, and it'll just kind of like circle past him or resolve itself somehow. The big thing that starts happening is that people start talking about her. People start mentioning devils, demons, red skies, and things. And the big turning point turns out that there's a big prophecy saying that Riley has to stop a rising evil from ending the world. And there isn't really a countdown on that, but the end of the world is coming up real soon. And since he's the one destined with his name in the ancient tablet and everything to stop it, it's a lot less self-resolving this time around. It's a lot bigger because it's apocalyptic at this point. It's not just some scary doll showing up on his doorstep. It's, oh, there's a devil that's going to end humanity if you don't do something. And he's like, I guess I'll do it, you know, is kind of the tone of it. But it's mostly because he can't like escape it this time. And it's a lot of this little circling evils like Molly or the immortal guy I mentioned earlier, Rivers Tremaine. A lot of the things that are circling him are also aware that the world is going to end soon. And some of them are also aware that Riley's the only one who can stop it. So a lot of them start circling Riley a lot closer to try and get control of the situation, to either grab him like, oh, he's basically the thing that's going to kill her, so we're just going to grab him and put him in front of her, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of it starts like circling a lot tighter on him because now there's a bigger prophecy kind of involved. It's a lot less avoidable for him. It's something he's going to have to actually like do this time, you know? So.
And as the writer, and you have, you know, quite a few characters, how do you sit down and how do you write them? Like, what is your process in building a character?
Sometimes it's just I'm looking for roles to fill. Like Riley is pretty self-explanatory. He's the main character. He's the guy that doesn't want to fight evil. He's the guy that wants the normal life. A lot of the horror, like the monsters and the evil, obviously are going to be circling him more. So I need things for more comedic relief. So sometimes that'll be like Molly, for example. A lot of ideas for Molly I took from other places. A lot of my ideas I take from other places, and I just kind of repurpose and structure them. And I feel like that's how a lot of stuff starts, especially with some of my characters, is that they just kind of start as something specific. Like I'll take like Molly, for example. I'll take Annabelle. And I'm like, here's my base, you know, it's Annabelle. She's basically Annabelle. But then as you write, you add more like nuance to them or like new details as like ideas come to you. And like, if I told you Molly and Annabelle were supposed to be like one and the same and you read the book, you'd be like, how? Yeah. Because like they have similarities at this point, but Molly's essentially like something completely new and different by now, because I spent the time as I was writing to like, you know, like the idea of her being Annabelle is like my baseline. That's the foundation. So what are you building on the foundation that sets her apart from what you're basing her off, you know, is kind of the idea. And the other element I took from Molly, there's a really old creepypasta that I really enjoyed the tone of, that I think also kind of was a bigger inspiration on this book than I realized, but is an old creepypasta called My Roommate is a Haunted Doll. And it was basically the same as what's going on between Riley and Molly, where this guy just had a haunted doll show up at his doorstep one day, and no matter what he did to get rid of it, it wouldn't go away. But this thing was, again, it was a doll, but it was haunted, and it would pay rent, and it would order him pizza, and it would invite friends over that were like other haunted dolls. And it was supposed to be unnerving, but in like a funny way, because it's like, how is this happening to me right now, you know? And it would like terrifying things would happen. Like he'd hear like scratching in the walls and like weird, creepy stuff. And then it'd like trail over to his front door, and he'd look at his front door, and then it would open, and it would just be like a pizza guy. And he's like, you had a delivery? And he's like, I didn't. And then he looks over at the haunted doll, and it's just staring at him with its little arm like pointed up and a thumbs up, and he's like, I guess we ordered the pizza, sure. Like it would be stuff like that where it's unnerving, and then it would just get really funny out of nowhere. And I took a lot of that with Molly too. So I kind of like combined the two elements with her, and then I started building on it as I was writing the book. And a lot of other characters were like that too. Like Rivers, like I said, was only supposed to be in the prologue, and then he turned into like probably the biggest villain or second biggest in the book. Stuff like that. Riley has a best friend who I just tried to make as unpredictable and crazy as possible, and he is like fully my like comedy. He's the comedic relief for like all the tense moments because he's right next to Riley every step of the way. Just stuff like that. I look for roles that I need with a lot of the monsters, especially too. I'm like, what's something funny but crazy and kind of scary I could throw in the mix right here? Because like this part of the book feels a little slower, a little empty. So I'll like come up with something and I'll throw something else in there that's based on something else. A lot of the early Riley ideas were just like based on other things, but like I guess kind of copyright free, quote unquote. Just kind of repurposed for like the comedic sake of it just being another one of the many things Riley has to deal with. And because he's dealing with these things on such a constant basis, he's very desensitized to it. He's very like, whatever, like a dragon will swoop down and land on his sidewalk outside his house. And he's just like, of course, what else could happen to me today? It's only 9 a.m, like that. He's got a very like blasé tone about a lot of it because he's just so fed up with it because it happens so constantly. And I think that lends a lot to the humor as well. So
how do you see your skills developing and evolving in the future?
I don't know. I've got other projects that I started a long time ago. I have one that's kind of like Dr. House if it was more of a horror setting. I go back to that one every now and then if I need kind of a change of pace. That one's got humor in it too, mostly because the main character is kind of Dr. House inspired. He's very smart, but he's also very smart ass and kind of mean. But I'm hoping that this will help me kind of like develop a bit more of like humor into stuff. I've always felt like I was good at injecting a bit of humor into the situations in all my books thus far, but this has definitely shown me that I can write just funny stuff. A lot of it comes across because of the absurdity of it, though. I feel like maybe I'm writing myself into a box a little bit here, just writing comedy where it's just the only reason it works is because of the book that it is, and I won't be able to do it better in like a different series. But I'm also really hoping that the characters and like the real like heartfelt moments come through, because I always feel like that's what I really want to write at the end of the day is the like heartfelt stuff. And you don't get the good heartfelt stuff without some terrifying obstacle to overcome, which is horror. Yeah. I haven't updated any of my author bio stuff yet, but Mobley's always telling me I should put horror with heart in my bio somewhere as the stuff I write, because a lot of with Supernatural especially being a drama show, stuff like that being a lot of early inspiration for like monsters and stuff. I have plenty of heartfelt moments in Riley too, because I love writing that stuff, but I feel like it goes hand in hand with horror really well, and that's what I really like writing. So I'm hoping that specifically is something that I don't lose the touch for. I hope that's something that comes across in everything I write from here on, moving forward. So
okay, well, hey, thank you so much for talking about your process and about your writings, the books that you have published, and the books that you're going to be publishing soon. You just got to work with your editor. Maybe someone wants to help out. That'd be great to have more of your work out. Where can people find your books?
All of my stuff is mostly on Amazon, but I have this like setting on Amazon that I don't quite understand that makes it so that my books are available wide through Amazon. So you can find a lot of my books, Riley especially. You can find Riley Doesn't Want to Fight Evil on like Barnes and Noble and other places like that. I think they order their stock from Amazon, like through Amazon to get it, but it's available on Barnes and Noble, and it gets like shipped through Amazon to Barnes and Noble to the customer, I think. I'm not sure how the process works. I know that it's a setting that I made on Amazon that made it wide. So you can find it most places, I think. But Amazon is the one place that's where I upload my books mostly is Amazon. I know Amazon's not everyone's cup of tea at the moment. I'm not good at getting it other places because it's a lot more simple to get it on Amazon for me. And that's where I've been posting most of the time. So that's just where they are at the moment. If I have more time, I'll probably try and look into that might be a goal this year is to look into ways to get my books available more readily on many other platforms instead of just through Amazon. But Amazon definitely. I know Barnes and Noble for sure. Most other like major online retailers like that, you can probably find my stuff on there.
So they just look up Dr. Mills and Riley.
Riley doesn't want to fight evil.
Doesn't want to. Riley doesn't.
Very specific title. It comes up very easily in a Google search. Actually, I've tested. I found out. So
cool. So like even those in the audience can go and check it out. And are there any other creatives out there or other writers that you suggest we keep an eye out for?
Ooh, none that I can think of off the top of my head, honestly. Because like I said, I kind of stay in my own little circle. So outside of Mobley, I don't talk to a lot of other like authors or writers or anything. And a lot of the people I do in the writing sphere are like editors and stuff. My formatters also. Honestly, anything that comes out of my formatters, Enchanted Ink Publishing, they're wonderful people. I love those guys to death. They have formatted like every single one of my books. I'm at the point where I don't even care if I learn how to format my own because I want them to like touch it. I want their magic touch on everything I publish, Anything that comes out of Enchanted Ink is probably pretty good. Honestly, I would say keep an eye out on a lot of those guys, if anything. So
awesome. And my final question is, Dr. Mills, why is creativity important for you?
Self-expression, I guess. Honestly, like I was saying earlier, the fact that I can take a lot of these things that I love around so many different like spheres of horror. I can take haunted dolls and I can take, like evil psychopaths and world-ending apocalypses, and I can just sprinkle all this. Like I can take all these things that I mentioned as like foundations, like Annabelle and Tales from the Gas Station, and I can just kind of mixing pot them all into something brand new and unique, something that I really like, and I can show that to people and be like, I made this. Do you like it? Like I said earlier, like being able to like ask people like, oh, what did you like most about it? And then being able to like meet me on the same level as me about the thing that I made. Be like, I really liked that, like that just, I don't know how to really put it into words other than to just say like, yes, this is why I write this book is for people like you to tell me things like that. Thank you. So.
Well, hey, thank you so much again for being a guest on my podcast, Creativity Worth Expressing. Audience,
thanks for having me.
Go check out his books. Go get a copy or buy it for someone. And if you would like, please subscribe to this podcast if you're watching it on YouTube or if you're listening to it over on Spotify. Leave a comment. Feel free to share this episode, leave a review. And if you would like to help me in other ways, you can do so by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/truth7. All of your contributions help me to keep this podcast going. And it also helps me to, pay for like the software that I use for the editing and for like the Zoom. It all helps me to keep it going. So, and to my audience, thank you so much. Again, go check out Dr. Mills. Go get his book. And Dr. Mills, thank you so much for being an awesome guest on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.